and I'll speak specifically of Annapolis, but I know you can't talk directly to that, but around what you are doing for physician recruitment in rural parts of this province.
Thank you for the question. Direct the question to the Minister of Health.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and that's an ongoing challenge. And as quickly, well, I won't say it quite that way because I think we've made some progress. We've certainly made progress in the Cumberland area with respect to the recruitment of physicians in that area and specialists in that area. But as you make progress, then you know you get a few wins, and then there's a couple of losses, and the situation changes. But we're working very actively with the district health authorities in order to provide them with the best service we can with respect to enhancing their capacity to recruit physicians, and rural Nova Scotia is an important part of that. We've, as I indicated previously, we're adding to hopefully the supply of doctors that will be available to Nova Scotia through the additional seats at the medical school. Our challenge will be to, make sure we get as many of those as we possibly can to practice here in Nova Scotia. There is, I can say at this stage that at a future date, I will be involved with groups in the province who are making a major effort to bring into practice foreign trained doctors for the province, and I'm out of respect for the people that I'm working with, I'm not going to say more about that at this juncture, but that will be a significant part of the solution. But it is a continuous challenge, and as long as we're in the situation where we're dealing with a shortage of physicians on the North American market, we're going to have to be scrambling and working very hard to make sure we get our share of those, and when we get them, that we keep them here. And that is one of the reasons why we've decided to invest the money we did in the new MRIs around rural parts of the province, is to ensure that when we recruit, we are able to say to new graduates in particular, but those who have trained recently, that they will be able to operate with equipment that they've trained on, and that's very important. It's you're not going to ask somebody who's trained at farming with a tractor to go and get the same satisfaction out of farming as they might with a team of horses and some old rusty machinery. You want the best equipment that they have and what they've gotten used to. We have yes, we have continue to have the debt repayment for new graduates, and perhaps the most effective tool that we have, and you made reference to it earlier, is the AFP. Is a very effective recruitment tool and is proving to be very helpful whenever we are able to employ it around the province.
Thank the Minister for the answer. Recognize the member from Annapolis.
Thank you. The provincial recruiter that you have in place now, it's been interesting, and I'll just speak of my own constituency. I find it extremely hard to actually be able to pin down a doctor that he would have had any input into it whatsoever. The successes that we seem to have in the Valley, and I'll speak of the Valley, but in my constituency, the successes that we seem to have in retaining doctors are because they've been recruited by the community, or the district has taken over a good portion of that. Unless I completely misunderstand, I know in the Valley we have our recruiter, and unless I completely misunderstand the role of the provincial recruiter, that the successes we seem to be having are without him. So I wonder why we have that position if and this is just strictly my own view, in my community, that the Valley seems to, or the District Health Authority or the community hospital seems to do a better job of recruiting and retaining doctors. And as part of that, I'll also, you mentioned about the new seats at Dow. How many of those are specific for Nova Scotia students?
Thank you for the question, directed to the Minister of Health. The Minister of Health.
Thank you. I'll, with respect to the number of seats at Dal, I'll take that as notice, because there is a specific number that that are available to other provinces, and I would want to have the precise number, and I'll take that as notice and get that for you. The honourable member, when he mentions the success of the local community with respect to recruitment, really puts his finger on the essence of recruitment, that in the final analysis, it is the local community that is going to succeed in attracting personnel to their communities. The provincial recruitment facilities and resources that are available to provide information whenever possible to both the communities or individuals who are interested in coming to the province, and they operate in that milieu. I hope that as much as possible the communities find that they are able to supplement their efforts as much as possible. I certainly get comments from various communities to that effect from time to time, but I can tell you that the areas of the province that are experiencing success with respect to recruitment are areas where there is a very, very active community involvement related to recruitment, and that is borne out in the successes that have taken place in various parts of the province, that the local input is extremely essential for there to be success.
The member from Annapolis.
I would like you just to expand a little bit on the provincial recruiter and the role that he's playing, if any.
Thank you. The Minister of Health.
The provincial recruiter very much operates as a facilitator with the district health authorities. They will, to the recruiter, identify needs. The recruiter will the recruitment office will do its utmost to identify clients or prospective professionals, I should say, who might want to go to the area and try and provide the match whenever possible. And but there isn't a precise science to all of this. It's really a matter of sharing knowledge and gathering knowledge and bringing it all together and doing the best that can be done with respect to knowledge, because it's all about identifying who might be available, who might be interested, and making sure the contacts occur so that the local community gets an opportunity to sell what they have to offer as a good place to live and practice one's profession.
Thank you, Minister. Recognize the member from Annapolis.
Thank you, Minister. I would send this caution out, and that is I believe there are communities who hear the term provincial recruiter and they believe someone else is out there looking out for a doctor for them, when that's actually just not the fact. I think that message needs to be spread around, that perhaps the provincial recruiter is formulating resumes, ideas, contact you can look at. but communities should not be standing by thinking that they're going to be sent a doctor by the provincial recruiter. And I think that's something that needs to be put on the record and spread out across the province, because there are communities, and I had some of them who did that for a while, believing that their answer to doctor shortage is going to be looked after by the provincial recruiter, which couldn't have been further from what was happening. I'd like to shift gears a little bit, and that is to long-term care beds. As you alluded to the other day, there's some being set for Halifax, Cape Breton. There have been 32 temporary beds put in place in Berwick, and I stress the word temporary because it was told to the Middleton nursing home group when they were looking to build a nursing home that those beds were not permanent, that those beds were temporary. They were told, and I was told by the department that those beds were temporary, and that if there were need was shown somewhere in the valley, that those beds actually could be moved and renovations would take place in the rest of the manor to make up for those 32 beds, and the complement of beds would stay at the old level for the manor, and those 32 new beds would be shifted somewhere else if the need arise. I think the community of Middleton and surrounding area has put their case forward. They have gone out and recognized, and they've gone out and proven the need for long-term care beds in Middleton and surrounding area. There's, at the present time, there's one, you go from Bridgetown through to Berwick, and there's a gap from Kingston, Greenwood, Middleton, and surrounding area that there are no long-term care beds. I'm looking for some direction from you and when that community can have a yes or no on whether or not their desire for long-term care beds will be addressed.
Thank you for the question. Recognize the Minister of Health.
I'll have a specific answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I know that this has been a question of concern to the honourable member. Certainly, I have met with a group that are working very hard to secure long-term care beds for Middleton. And I've referenced earlier the consultation that is currently taking place across the province with respect to the whole issue of continuing care. And a very important part of that is looking at long-term care needs. I anticipate receiving that an interim report from that consultation early in the fall. And based on that interim report, we can start responding and looking at the areas of the province that we would consider to be priorities based on the evidence that we will have at that time. So shortly after that, we would hope to be in a position to start identifying those areas where additional long-term care beds should be located.
Thank you, Minister, for the answer. Recognize the member from Annapolis.
Thank you, and I look forward to that report as well. I assume part of that will be assessing existing long-term care beds, where they're at now in the facilities, and the modernizing of those facilities, and perhaps redistribution of some of that the existing seats. I do want to clarify one thing, though. Those beds that were put in Berwick were temporary.
Minister of Health.
The answer is yes.
Member from Annapolis.
Thank you very much, Minister. I appreciate that. Yesterday in the budget, there was a called new restorative beds. There was $1.65 million for that. I'm going to show my ignorance. What's a restorative bed? Is that similar to a transitional unit that I have at Soldiers Memorial Hospital?
The Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the honourable member shouldn't at all be concerned about asking a question such as that, because I spent a few weeks calling them by another name, and the department decided that name was not as appropriate as restorative care was, and perhaps I can try and use a couple of examples or that may help the honourable member. Very often patients will come to hospital and receive acute care treatment. And a stroke is a good example. You get the acute care treatment, and then once that's over, what's required after that is no longer acute care, but rehabilitative care. And that is provided by physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and facilities. It's not appropriate to occupy acute care beds to be able to provide services such as that, because with the exception of the rehabilitation process, the acute care is not required. So it's appropriate to have beds where people can receive the rehabilitation services that they need, to bring them to the point where you're able to say it's appropriate for this person to return to their home, fully recovered, we would hope, or return to their home and need some level of home care in order to be able to carry on with their lives, or worst case scenario, that they would have to go to a long-term care facility in order to be cared for appropriately. So rather than these people occupying acute care beds, while this rehabilitation is taking place, it's appropriate to have what we call restorative care. And the term restorative, we hope, can restore 100%. That's not always possible, but restore to a level where the individual can get to their home, or, worst case scenario, to a long-term care facility. It concentrates resources and staff on special skills for the level of care, and it's better for the patients. And the focus in these facilities is recovery. Yeah.
The member from Annapolis.
They're obviously the same as the transitional care beds that are actually at Soldiers Memorial Hospital presently. You've just renamed them, right? The 50 new. Do you know where the 50 new beds are going? That'll take place in the fall when you announce that new nursing home for Middleton. Also in the budget was the assistance for low-income Nova Scotians with diabetes, and part of that you announced, I think it was $2.5 million. In the election of 2003, there was a commitment of $3.2. I'm wondering why we're $700,000 short, and when will families be able to start applying for that?
Before I recognize the Minister of Health, I just want to inform the good member from Annapolis that 119 is the end of the committee. Okay, Minister, I'm going to recognize the member from Annapolis quickly.
And I just want to know what the income threshold will be for that.
Minister of Health, 1 minute, 30 seconds. And counting.
Yeah, over the next year, we'll be developing these numbers. They're not available at the moment. The reason the number is different than from the commitment is that our research tells us there's a very lower than anticipated take-up on these services in other jurisdictions.
Thank you, Minister.
Okay.
Thank you, Minister. Time has elapsed today for the estimates, and at this time I'd like to thank it's 118 member. At this time I would like to thank the Minister of Health and the good member from Annapolis, and recognize the Government House Leader. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we will remain in committee, but however I'm asking for a recess for approximately 2 minutes to await the Red Chamber reporting back, and then we'll report out of committee. So, Mr. Speaker, we'll recess until 1:22.
Thank you, Government House Leader. The committee is in recess until 1:22. Thank you. No.
No.
Order, please. I'd like to call the committee to order, and at this time, I recognize the government house leader.
For the same one.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the chairman of the subcommittee reports that their committee has met and begs leave to sit again, and then you do the same thing for the whole works. Is that?
Yes, I'd like to recognize the chairman of the subcommittee, the member from Kings North.
Thank you very much. We have finished our 4 hours and made excellent progress.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize the government house leader.
Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I move that your committee does now rise and report good progress.
Thank you, government house leader. There's been a motion on the floor for the committee to rise. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? The committee rises. Thank you.
Chairman of the Committee on the Whole House of Supply reports.
The committee has met and made considerable progress. And begs leave to sit again.
Agreed? Agreed. Now, Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the House will, I move that the House will now adjourn to meet again on Monday at the hour of 2 p.m. The House will sit from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. The order of business following the daily routine will be Committee of the Whole House on supply.
2 to 8 on Monday?
Did I say 2 to 8?
You said 2 to 8.
Chairman, I was in oh well. Yes, wrong day. The House will sit from 2 until 10 p.m., Mr. Speaker. And the order of business following the daily routine will be Committee of the Whole House on supply. And finishing on the completion of 4 hours, Mr. Speaker, we'll change the order of business public bills for second reading. And we will, first of all, call Bill number 180, the Municipal Government Act. And when we've dealt with that bill, Mr. Speaker, we'll move on to Bill 177, the Financial Measures 2005 Act. And Mr. Speaker, with those remarks, I'd move the House to now rise.
Motion is the House adjourn until 2 p.m. on Mondays. Is it agreed? All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. The House adjourned to 2 p.m. Monday.